Isn't it beautiful? I just love it. I can't believe, it's amazing that this mess is gonna make a beautiful bread. It just looks like, how, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not perfect. I don't know why it's doing that today. I'm gonna keep, see? I don't want my bread baking like that.
Maybe it's not mixed well enough.
No, it's mixed.
It's spreading apart.
I know. What's going on? We're gonna leave that one out. We're gonna do the next one.
Here we go.
Okay, so now we're gonna check it, and we're just checking to take the lid off, and if it's brown like we like, then it's done. If we want it browner, we just take the lid off and leave it in there another 5 minutes, okay?
Yeah.
Let's see. This is where you never know. Okay, I'm gonna grind up some spelt so I can add it to my starter for tomorrow morning. You want to see how it works?
Yeah.
Okay. So, sorry about the shadow. We should have used the light.
Oh, it's dark out.
Yeah. So I'm going to come over here and look. So this is a mock mill, so I have to turn it on first before I grind. And I have it set and ready. See what I do? This is my starter from the fridge. I have a little too much. I need to make something with it. I'm gonna do 25 grams of starter that's not active. Okay? 25 grams. Oops. I went way over. Hold on. I'm gonna take some out.
This is for your country loaf or what?
Yeah, because they're my favorite loaves in the whole world. I love the country loaf. I did too much. I'm out of control here. I'm making a mess. I'm gonna have to wipe that off. Anyways, so I have 29. I went for 25, but I have 29. It's fine. We just need a little bit of starter.
And this is a good recipe because it's not very finicky.
Oh, I like this recipe because if you add just a little bit of starter and then you add large amounts of fresh flour, it'll, as it's eating through it, it gives me time in the morning. I can sleep in on a Saturday morning. Even if I get to this thing at 10 o'clock in the morning, it'll still be active and ready, which is awesome. Because there's some where you are in like a 3-hour window and it gets active and you're like, oh, I gotta hurry up, make my bread, it's active. This recipe is really good to like, just make it tonight. And then tomorrow morning, I'm gonna get up in the morning, somewhere, whatever time I decide to get up. At least before 10, but I don't sleep in that late. But even if you start at 10 o'clock, it will still be active. So it's awesome. So then I'm going to clear my scale and I'm going to do 50 grams of fresh ground flour. And if you don't have fresh ground flour, you can always use, wheat flour if you want. Some people use just all-purpose flour. I find it doesn't work as well. So I always do some fresh ground flour. So 50 grams of fresh ground flour and 50 grams of all-purpose flour. So that's a total of 100. So 100 grams of flour. And the reason why I like to mix the whole wheat with the all-purpose, because if I do all whole wheat, it leaves, it's too dark. I don't really like the color of it and everything, which is probably healthier. But I like this consistency, and so this is what I do. So now I'm going to clear my scale, and I'm going to do 100 grams of just tap cold water. It's like room temperature. So 100 grams of water. This one you'll be a little more careful. You don't want to go too far over. You could actually go a little under. So say I did 88. Let's say I did 90, actually. It'll make it into a little bit thicker. So it says 91. So let's see what it looks like. It'll leave it as a little bit thicker. And sometimes that helps it be like a really strong starter. You give it less water. Let's see. Not giving it 10 grams of water. I bet you tomorrow this will be a nice, almost like a stiff starter. There's difference between a stiff starter and like a regular wet starter. I kind of like the stiff starter. Stiff starter seems to last longer for me. See how it's more of a stiff versus a pancake mix. It'll stay. You could do 100 grams, it'll still work, but I like to do it like this because I find it stays like a really strong active, which is what I want. I want a nice, strong, active starter tomorrow morning. And then I'm going to wrap it with some saran wrap and put it away for tonight. Let it sleep, let it do its thing. And then we'll come back in the morning. Okay, so it's morning with my cup of coffee. What time is it? It's like 9 o'clock. And you want to see how my sourdough looks, my starter? There it is. Look at it. Nice. See how it's still active? Isn't that great?
I guess the other way, it wasn't as active? Like you had a limited time or something?
Yeah, so if you add, a lot of people will add like maybe half starter and half flour. And I find that you get like maybe a 3-hour window and you got to use it real quick. But if you give it a little starter and more flour, it seems to be active longer. That's what I've learned. I don't know the science behind it, but it works. So this is what I'm doing. And I want to show you my country loaf. Oh, it just bubbled. You missed it.
Oh, I missed it.
You missed it. It just bubbled.
Here's a starter fart.
Gross. I hate that. All right, my favorite loaf is the country loaf. So I'm going to show you how I do my country loaf. I'm actually making 2 loaves because I always end up giving some away to people because people love it. And I'm going to use some fresh ground flour, and I'm also going to use bread flour because I like the consistency of it. Rises really nice, it has a nice color, and it has a perfect crumb. So I found, for me, it's the perfect mix of them both. And I do add some of this Vital Wheat gluten, even though I'm using bread flour, because I like the puff it gives. You don't have to, it's not necessary, but I just like it, and I'll show you how I use it. Okay, so I'm gonna start with 330 grams of water. And this is just my tap water. Our water's pretty good. If you have nasty tap water, then just use filtered water. But our water's pretty good here. And I like to use it in this pitcher. And it's just like lukewarm. So close. Okay, I went over 1, but it's fine. It's not going to be a big deal. I went over, 331, but it'll be fine. You don't need to worry about it. So next, I'm going to take, actually what I do is when I'm making 2, I like to do the water first. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one. And this one I did clear because I thought maybe you could see better. This one 331 too. It's fine. Okay, so I'm doing 2 at the same time. So I always do my water. Oh, I can just do this. Then I take, what I need is 100 grams of this starter that's active. So we're gonna do 100 grams. So I'm pretty close. Oh, there we go, 100. I want to show you in my bowl how the sourdough floats in the water. Mm-hmm. And if it's floating, that means it's really good and active.
Let's see.
See how it's floating? I mean, some of it's sunk down, but it's floating.
Yeah.
That's a good sign. That means you're active. Your starters were nice and active. If it just sinks to the bottom, it may not be ready. And then, okay, so I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to do the same thing. This time, instead of pouring it, I'm just going to kind of use my bowl. I'm going to... And if you don't have a full 100, it's fine. So I'd say that's 98. I want to leave a little bit left in here. Let's see, I can. So you want to leave a little bit. See the scrapings? Mm-hmm. That'll be just enough to start a new batch. Mm. If you really wanted to start just a small batch. And if you want to have more left over, you'd make a bigger starter batch. But that's enough just because it's such an active starter that it'll make another batch from that little bit.
Mm. Interesting.
And my starter, I started in April of 2020. So how old is it now? About
4.
A little over 4 years? Mm. Yeah, so it's nice. It's been going for a while. All right, I mix it up. Just, you don't have to, but I like to. Because when you're making a bread, when you have regular store-bought yeast, you kind of mix it up into the liquid. So I like to mix it. And plus I think it distributes it well. So I mix that one. And then I'm going to mix this one. Plus I think it looks better.
Yeah.
I do really enjoy making bread. I thought it was so stressful, but it's not. I actually enjoy it a lot.
Well, I enjoy eating it.
Yeah. And it's not even that hard. And once you get a starter going, or you can get one from somebody, it's pretty simple. And I love it. This is definitely my favorite loaf that I've made. I've made bagels, English muffins, all with sourdough. We've made pizza, but this country loaf, my favorite. How about you? What's your favorite?
Yeah, I like them all.
All, but what's your favorite?
Country loaf.
What about the honey wheat loaf that I make?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I eat them all. I like them.
I can say one thing that we don't like with sourdough.
What?
We do not like a sweet dough, like a cinnamon roll dough. It has a little bit sour taste.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's got to be white flour.
Yeah, no, it's not. Has nothing to do with the flour.
It does.
It is the sourdough. If I use sourdough starter in a cinnamon roll recipe, it gives it a little bit of a tart flavor. So I stick to just regular yeast, store-bought yeast with the cinnamon rolls. I haven't found a recipe that I like that's sweet enough to get rid of that little bit of sour in my sweet roll. But I have made what was it? Oh, not Hawaiian. What is it? Those things that you get at Big Y. Snowflake rolls. Mm. So I have a recipe, and I'll have to do that next time. So I made snowflake rolls with regular store-bought yeast, and then I changed the recipe to fit a sourdough recipe to make snowflake rolls. And remember, it worked. Mm. So we'll have to try that if anybody's interested in the snowflake rolls. Especially if you're from New England, you know what snowflake rolls are from Big Y. These were even better, I think.
Yeah, they were good.
Yeah. Okay, so next, you take a sip of coffee. John hates coffee. Yeah. I love it. And in here is my coffee. It's like a mix of blueberry crumble flavor with regular coffee. Mm. It's so good. But the blueberry crumble doesn't taste like blueberry. It actually tastes like, it kind of tastes like Snickerdoodle from Mary Lou's coffee. So I love it. Anyways, moving on. So last night I ground up a mixture of einkorn and spelt. And I'm going to add 50 grams of this fresh ground flour. Just 50 grams. Because if you go, I have tried the recipe with a little more. And it does taste good, but it makes a little bit flatter of a loaf. And I like a more light loaf with the nice crumb. Oh. So you can still get some out. It doesn't have to be exact. 51's fine. I leave my scale. So leave your scale. Don't touch it. Now I'm going to go with my King Arthur's flour. I would prefer organic, but this is what I found. And flour is expensive right now, so we're going with the Costco. We're doing the best we can with what we can afford around here. Everything being so expensive. So I'm just going to keep adding my flour now.
How much?
I'm going to go up to 490 grams. A total. And then I'm going to show you what I do after that. So bread flour, 490. I'm at 489. There. 490. Then 491 is okay. I just went over a little bit. So now I'm going to add my Vital wheat gluten, and this one I did buy organic. It does matter, but it doesn't matter. Whatever. I'm going to add enough to make it into 500 grams total. Boom. There I am, 500. Now, check this out. Isn't it beautiful in here? No salt. We're not going to do the salt yet. We're just going to mix this, and it's going to be kind of dry. We're going to mix it.
So it's 500 grams of flour total.
Yes. Correct. This is just a recipe that I like, that I've come up with, that I prefer. So I try to mix it with the spoon because once I get my hands in there, I don't want them to be so full of flour. Some people use a scraper. I just found I don't really like the scraper. It kind of doesn't work for me. See how dry it is right now?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna add, in an hour, we're gonna add more water and some salt to it.
Well, if you calculate it out, it's 50 grams of the einkorn and spelt, 440 of the white flour, and 10 of the, no?
No, incorrect.
What is it?
50 grams of fresh ground flour, 490 grams of bread flour, and 10 grams. No, so you're right. So you're calculating, I get it. So I'm just saying what I calculate up to.
Yeah.
That's too confusing. You can't say that. Just add 50 grams of whole wheat flour, 400 added up to 490 on the scale of bread flour, and then 10 grams of the Vital wheat gluten. If you have it, it's not even necessary. You can just do 50 grams of whole wheat or fresh ground, and the rest bread flour. Okay. So we're gonna mix this, and what I do, because I am making 2 loaves, so you see I get it to this point. I don't get my hands in it just yet because I want to mix this. So I got to start this one.
This is the second loaf.
This is my second loaf.
So we'll do it again.
So we're going to do it again just to show you. So now I do 50 grams of my fresh ground flour, which you could use whole wheat flour that you get from the store. It's up to you. I keep doing 51. Oh well, it's okay. Next, now it says I did 52. Still okay, not a big deal. It's a very easy recipe. It's not that picky. Next we're gonna add the bread flour, and we're gonna make sure the scale gets to 490. And make sure your scale has a nice battery, because if it doesn't, it'll just clear and then you're done for. And then you gotta figure it out. I've done that before. So we're gonna add this until it gets to, what did I say?
490.
490. Hey, if anyone's interested, well, I'm thinking about it. If anyone's interested, I also have a recipe for 100% ground spelt loaf. So if you want to you want a sourdough loaf that doesn't have any flour like this, I have a really good loaf that is 100% spelt. And it's fresh ground, nothing's removed. It's the whole kernel. Is that what it's called? The whole wheat berry. It's the whole wheat berry. And that's a really good one. And I sweeten it with a little bit of honey, and it's really good. It doesn't bake up super fluffy like this one, but it's fluffy. And it's not heavy like you would think a whole wheat bread would be. So if you want that, I definitely tell me in the comments the 100% spelt sourdough or the snowflake rolls. Those were really good. And that is, I did do in some whole wheat, but it's got to be white flour. But I did it as sourdough. Okay, so I'm just gonna finish this off to 500. All right. And I would definitely recommend, you got to have a scale. That's a big deal. You got to have a scale. Unless you're that good. I'm not that good. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my hands wet just so I don't, see all that? I don't want it stuck on my hands. And I'm just gonna get my hands wet real quick. I'm gonna mix this with my wet hands. I'm gonna take the spoon out. I'm gonna put the spoon in here because I'm gonna mix that next. Actually, no. I'm gonna stir this first. I almost forgot and got my hands dirty. I wanna stir them both so I can clean my hands once. Isn't it beautiful? I just love it. I can't believe, it's amazing that this mess is gonna make a beautiful bread. It just looks like, how, right? Mm-hmm. And it is kind of tough right now, but that is exactly what you want. So now I'm going to just take that spoon out, and you're gonna get your hands a little dirty. It's okay. It's gonna start blending together. And if you can use a scraper and you figured it out, go ahead. Now you're just gonna get your hands dirty. And some people do it on the counter. I like to just do it in the bowl. Try to keep things, you just keep flipping it. I find punching it does a really good job. Maybe get some of that stress out. I don't really have any stress. Just kidding. That's what my coffee's for. So it's going to be, you can see it's dry. There's some sticky spots, but it's supposed to be like that right now at this point.
Yeah.
So now with your other dirty hand, we're going to mix this one. Sticks to the bottom of this one. I like this bowl, but it does stick, which I don't like. That's fine. This is why it's important to have very clean hands, and I like shorter nails, and know the people that are making your bread because you get your hands all into it. Okay. All right, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it up with saran wrap. So I'm going to cover it up with saran wrap. And I'm going to mark, because I got 2 loaves, sometimes I'm making different kinds of bread. So I write country. Just from the past doing this, I see what time it is. 9:55. Write your time because you will lose track. And we will come back in 1 hour. All right, it's been an hour. And this is what it looks like. There's some wet, there's some dry, it's fine. We're going to add 30 grams of water. So we had to let it autolyze. We're going to add 30 grams of water and 10 grams of salt. This one you got to be kind of careful if you don't pre-measure it. 30 grams. Right on. Next, we're going to do 10 grams of salt. You can use Himalayan sea salt. This actually is Redmond's real salt from Utah that I keep adding in here. I bought a little bucket. So this is Redmond's real salt. And I have used Himalayan, no, not Himalayan, Celtic sea salt works good too. 10 grams. We're gonna sprinkle it in there. I could have set that. We'll get it to 40, there. All right, now my next one, I don't mix it yet because I'm gonna get my hands dirty. So you could do either way. You could do salt first, you could do water, whichever. So 10 grams of salt. There we go. 10 grams of salt and 30 grams of water. I'm gonna clear my skin. Boop. There we go. 30, okay. All right, so now I'm going to get my hands dirty. I'm gonna mix it and punch it and get all that salt mixed in with the dough. So you just gotta work it in there. It's gonna be kind of wet and messy. I find punching it still works the best way for me. Okay, and then there's that one. I'm gonna switch. We're gonna do this one. And a lot of this water will absorb as you let it rest. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shape it into a circle the best I can. And it'll get better as time goes on. There's that one. We're gonna switch this one. And I don't know why I do this. I just like it to be, I don't know. I just like it like that. Now we're gonna cover it up and we're gonna let it set for 30 minutes before we do a stretch and fold. All right, with my nice clean wet hands, just damp, sort of wet, damp. We're gonna do our first stretch and fold. All right, we're gonna stretch and fold. You pull up from one area. I've seen people do this, but I've never had luck. So I just pick it up and I move it around. I put it in here. I want to absorb all that liquid. It'll get easier to stretch and fold as we move on. But it is looking better. You see how it's working better? It's not so, it's like coming together a little bit more. And I just keep tucking it under, making like a ball. And then I like to get all that moisture. But see how that looks? Mm-hmm. So you try to put it into a ball. And as we go on, the gluten will start working better and it'll stretch and fold nice. Now we're gonna come back in 30 minutes. Right, another stretch and fold with your wet hands. Let's see if it works this time.
How many of these do you have to do? 4?
Yeah, you could do, I've done it with just one and it's fine. So you do one side, you stretch the other side, another side, and then I find when I get to the 4th side, I can't get it. So I just pull it out and kind of give it a stretch. Is that how, because it still works. I'm not a professional, but it works for me. I don't know how they do it so perfectly. That's what I do. I think it's just mostly messing with it is the trick. Let's try this one. My bowl's a little bigger. Pull up. You fold. You pull up, you fold, you pull up. See, then it doesn't grab anymore. So I pull up, I kind of just pull it. And then this side, that's my way I stretch and fold. It works. And then I make it into a ball again. And it's starting to come together nice. See, it's not as wet as it was.
Yeah.
It's absorbing it. And then you're going to cover it up. And you're going to come back in 30 minutes and do another stretch and fold. So that was 2. You can do up to 4. There's times where I've just done 2. And it's fine. But if you want a nice crumb, try to do at least 4 if you can. Okay, take a look at my bread. I let it set for 12, 1, 2.
It's huge.
Oh, it's about 5 hours. So it depends on the weather. If it's a cold kitchen, it might take longer. Once it's doubled in size, it's ready to go into the basket.
And you only did 3 stretch and fold.
I did 3 stretch and folds. I bailed out. I didn't do the last one, but it should be fine.
Yeah.
All right. You ready? I'm going to take it out.
Does this mean it deflates?
Yeah, we're going to deflate it. I like to just... You can do whatever you want. I like to mess with it. You can take it out however you like. Look at the bubble. That's a good sourdough. Look at it. That's a good one. Nice and bubbly. Look at this. Yay. Nice. So now I'm just gonna, on my clean counter, already cleaned, I'm just gonna try to shape it for my basket.
Seems like when you do that, you're stretching the top skin.
Yeah. I still haven't figured, but it's like, hear all those gas bubbles coming out?
Yeah.
Because you don't want any of those big bubbles in there because there'll be like a whole gap.
Yeah.
Some people, I don't know how they do it, but they make it and it's like the skin is so tight and nice and it doesn't crack like mine. But, see? But I haven't really had any problems, so I'll just keep shaping it until you think it's ready. It's not perfect. I don't know why it's doing that today. I'm going to keep, see? I don't want my bread baking like that. We'll see how the other loaf turns out. It happens. It's weird, huh? It keeps doing that.
Maybe it's not mixed well enough.
No, it's mixed.
It's spreading apart.
I know. What's going on? We're going to leave that one out. We're going to do the next one. It's coming together.
Maybe you should have done more stretch and folds.
No, it just happens.
Yeah, because you're not doing it.
No, it's not true. I've done it with no stretch and folds at all, and it worked. Let's just leave it alone now. It'll work. Let's see. I'm going to do this one. We're going to do the next one. This is my rice flour, and I use rice flour, so it, if you use regular flour, I always find that it sticks. And it absorbs into the dough, and then I can't get it out of my basket. And the rice flour doesn't do that. So I like rice flour. Make it so it's not sticky at all. And I check, the reason why I pick it up, because I want to check and see if, see, you want to make sure it's not sticking at all. Because if it sticks at all, it's going to be hard to get it out of the basket. And then when you go to get it out of the basket, if it sticks, it could deflate and then you're done. It's ruined. So that's as far as I'm going to go. That's it. Let's see how this one comes out. There it is. Big blob. It's my blob. Get some of these gas bubbles out. Let's hope this one does a better job. I gotta get that bubble out. I see a bubble.
Can you just poke it?
No, it'll go. See, as I. Maybe I was just doing it too fast. Sourdough definitely takes some time to learn, but you can't be afraid of it. If you make a mistake, it's still going to come out okay. Just keep trying.
Just won't be as pretty.
Sometimes I'm shocked. It comes out and I'm like, wow, I didn't think that would work. And it did. I think it's good. This is my favorite shaped basket though. This oval shape. I love that shape. Okay. Now I'm going to sprinkle it with some rice flour. And remember, don't wash your baskets. Not a good idea. Mine got all moldy when I did that, and it was sad. All right, I'm gonna put this in there, and I kind of squeeze it together to make a seam. Then I check again, put some more flour, because it's gonna go up. Make sure it's rice flour. It works the best. I see it kind of sticking, so I want it to go up. Put some on the top. Looks good. Look, see how it's not sticking at all? Mm-hmm. And then squeeze the top. Then what I'm going to do is I reuse this every time. So I got some parchment paper, and I cover it up. And I learned this off of Melissa Norris' YouTube channel. Then she puts it in a plastic bag to keep the moisture in. And then I put it in the refrigerator overnight, just like this. And it helps with the humidity and keeps it all nice and moist. Now I'll wrap the other one. And you can tell I'm always reusing this. But that's how she does it, and that's how I've been doing it, and it seems to work. Keeps all the moisture in. And then that's it. Then I just put it in the fridge.
You'll bake it tomorrow?
And then tomorrow we'll bake it and see how it came out. It's always a surprise with sourdough. All right, see you tomorrow. Let's see, how does it look? See it?
Oh, it rose.
A little bit. I guess it did. It feels fluffy. I have my silicone mats. You can use parchment paper. If I use parchment paper, I put the parchment paper on a cookie sheet and then I flip it. All right, ready? Oh! Almost lost it. It was so loose out of there. I almost lost it out, huh? Oh. All right, I'm going to give it a cut. That's just the rice flour. You could dust it off if you want. It doesn't really bother me. Kind of looks pretty after it cooks. I can make a mess, huh? I'm just going to cut it like this. And you can add designs if you want. But I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm just going to give it a nice cut and hope for the best. And we're going to get this hot Dutch oven. The Dutch oven, so you heat the oven to 500 degrees with your Dutch oven in the oven and let it get nice and hot. My oven's dirty from my pumpkin bread. This isn't gonna hurt it any. Bring it over here. Put it in there. I leave the flaps out because I cooked with it with the flaps in, and it left an indention in my bread. Not a good idea. Oh, thank you. All right, we're gonna do 500 degrees at 20 minutes. All right, we'll be back in 20 minutes. All right, so now we're just gonna clear it, and we're gonna do 450 for 10 minutes. Now we wait.
So you went 500 at 20 minutes to 450 for 10 minutes?
Yes.
All right.
With the lid on.
With the lid on. Here we go.
Okay, so now we're gonna check it, and we're just checking to take the lid off, and if it's brown like we like, then it's done. If we want it browner, we just take the lid off and leave it in there another 5 minutes, okay?
Yeah.
Let's see. This is where you never know. Oh, it's so pretty.
Wow.
I want it a little darker. What do you think? Maybe like 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
I'm just going to watch it. All All right, let's check it. It's been like a minute or so. Ready?
Yeah.
I think that's nice. I like mine. I don't like mine too dark.
It's pretty.
Yeah, it's got a nice ear and all. Okay.
Mhm.
I forget. I had to cook the other one, so I can't let the oven cool off. We're gonna close that. All right. I'm gonna pick it up with my handles because those handles are hot. Whoops. Okay. And then I take it over here and I put it on my cooling mat.
Well, that is a loaf of bread.
Yeah, sourdough.
Look at
Country
loaf.
loaf. Isn't that beautiful?
It is.
I'm making a nice mess. Look at that ear. I love it. That's what we want. That's beautiful. I love that. All right, I'm going to cook the next one.
This is the one that was giving you problems?
Yeah. We'll see how this one turns out. I mean, it looks okay.
Yeah.
It's not as big as I wanted, but it might turn out just fine. Yay! See how it fell out? Yeah. Oh, it looks nice.
The rice flour.
Yes, that works miracles. This one I'm just going to do a classic. Just a classic cut across this way and this way.
How deep do you have to go?
You want a nice deep cut because I was very shallow before, and it doesn't make a nice ear. See how that's a nice deep cut?
Yep.
Yeah. And then some people are really good at making designs, but I'm not in the mood right now.
Yeah. 500 degrees.
Very hot. You know, I read on a post that some people are saying that baking this bread in their oven is killing their oven. But I haven't had that experience. And I've been doing it since, 2020?
What do you mean killing it?
Like their ovens are dying. Like they're having to replace their ovens.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, I don't know. I have an LG and mine's been fine. Anyways, 20 minutes. Time to see what happened.
Yeah.
Let's see. Alright. It's okay. It's not bad. That one for some reason was giving me trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
It didn't form the ears.
Yeah, it didn't. Not too much. That's why I said I like this shape, the oval.
Right, you taking it out?
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's dark enough for me. See? Dark enough. It does have a hole in the middle, so we'll see. Still edible. It's still edible. It's still pretty. Sourdough's tricky. It's not impossible, but it's tricky. Don't give up. Still looks nice.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be perfect.
Oh.
And I have many loaves that are perfect. And then I have many loaves that are just like, it doesn't look as good as the other ones. But it doesn't matter. They all taste good.
We'll still eat it.
Yeah, it's so good.